What's up, little android? SonicFanGal here. If you haven't heard of me before, be sure you check out my other pages as I've got a lot of other content. Also, be sure you read my books. And let's get right into it, shall we? So with it being Halloween, I decided to do a review on a horror movie. A horror movie that not a lot of people have seen. A horror movie that I didn't even know about until I saw it on Amazon Prime. The movie that we're going to be reviewing is called Hit and Run, and it's a horror movie that came out in 2009. And it's pretty much about what you'd expect it to be. I mean, the name Hit and Run is kind of a humdinger. So we start off this movie with this young girl who is having a party, or she's at a bar, and she's drinking, and she's decides that it would be a clever idea, despite everybody, including her ex-boyfriend, to not do this. She decides to drink and drive, because what better way to die? Am I right? So she's drunk, and she's driving down the road, and she's on this back road, like this back road, backwoods area. I don't know where she lives. She lives out in the boonies, but she is totally fine, even though she's like singing and kind of dancing in her car. She winds up back at her house in the driveway. Well, she goes into the garage, and that's when she sees a man on her hood. Keep in mind, her car has like these tusk things, and he got impaled. How she didn't see him, I don't know. I mean, even if you are drunk driving, which you shouldn't be, but even if you are, I'm sure you can see some things. I wouldn't know. I've never drank and drive before. So she does the smart thing. First, she tries to check if he's alive. Once she finds out that he's alive, she bashes him in the head with a golf club. Commits a Martha Moxley on the dude. Yep. So then she does another thing that normal people do. She goes out and buries him right where she hit him. Now, I do have a few things about this that kind of make it like the protagonist is the bad guy here. I mean, for one thing, she drank and drove, which is horrible, because that's pretty self-explanatory as to why you shouldn't. And she, even though she did check to see if this man's alive, why didn't she call 911? Like, I'm sure you could have gotten something. I mean, even if you were charged with something, at least you would know. I mean, at least the man would be alive. All she's done is just dug her own grave. She starts trying to live her normal life. Keep in mind, her parents are gone for the weekend. It doesn't really clarify where they're at, but they just say that they're like away on business or something. So there's that. And she tries to get closer with her ex-boyfriend, who kind of looks like he's trying too hard to be like old Justin Timberlake. So pretty soon, her guilty conscience decides to eat at her when she sees this video on the news of a kindergarten teacher who turns out to be the man that she hit and killed. Yeah. Isn't that just so awkward? Don't you just hate it when that happens, when you like murder someone and then see their face on the news? Man, it happens to me so many times. She keeps going through this guilty conscience thing, trying to hide the fact that she killed somebody, and her ex-boyfriend shows up. And she's thinking that, you know, maybe this man that she murdered is still alive. So she's like acting all paranoid. She has this bird with her that she's babysitting for some reason. And I think it has to do with either her parents or her aunt. And he shows up, the ex-boyfriend. So she finally breaks down and tells him that she killed somebody. He, of course, takes it like any normal person and kind of just tells her how stupid she is and calls the bird a B word.
Aïe! Merde! Fais chier! Maudit oiseau.
Yeah, he's something else, but don't worry, we don't have to deal with him for long, because later on she tries to call him and tell him, hey, I want to go over there just to see if he's still buried. They go over, well, she's supposed to meet him. He goes there by himself, of course, and calls her and tells her to come. So she does, only to find out he's in the grave instead of the man. Yeah, that part was weird to me. It made no sense at first. But yes, indeed, the man is alive. I mean, honestly, with the man having been hit, impaled by a tusk of a car, and beaten in the head with a golf club, and buried alive, and asphyxiated, is this guy like Michael Myers or something? It's crazy. Like, it gets weirder too. So she keeps on trying to find out, you know, like how to hide this more. And she eventually fights this guy. She starts fighting with him. He winds up biting her earlobe off. And he like puts her on the car, mounts her on the car, and drives her to a gas station. Like you do when you finally found your killer. Is ultimately terrified, of course. And she's trying to tell him, oh, I'm sorry. And it's like, honey, no offense, but this is kind of on you. So she winds up at his house. And she gets to see that he has a wife and a son. Well, here's a big plot twist here, which isn't really a plot twist, but they kind of made it that way. The wife, tries to talk to him and say, you know, I haven't seen you in forever. Have you been taking your pills? Because allegedly he has some type of mental illness, and you know how horror stuff has to be. Anything with a mental illness is considered a bad guy. That's Hollywood for you, baby. The son, of course, sees him try to beat his wife to death. And the son goes down into the garage where he then meets the girl, telling him to help her and set her free. He goes and tells his mom, his already battened down mother, and she comes in, tries to help her in this situation. So, next thing you know, the man finds the wife and stabs her with chain cutters. Yeah, I don't know how in the world he managed to do that, but he did. I still don't even understand how this man's even alive. But here we are. So he drives her all the way back to the gravesite. Something to do with the gravesite. And she is about to be buried alive by this man. And you can see in a certain light that one of his eyes has an enlarged pupil, which is a sign of a concussion. How in the world has this man been alive for this long? We don't know. So she's like in the process of being buried alive with her boyfriend, and all of a sudden she decides maybe I should stab him or something. So she does. She stabs him in the eye. This man is still going. Like, this guy is like Michael Myers. And eventually, she kills him. Eventually. And don't even get me started on the ending. She goes into an auto mechanic shop and tells them that there's something wrong with her car. They go out there to investigate the car. And guess what happens? movie was definitely, could have been described as more of a horror comedy. It certainly had its elements, its creepy elements, but the story and the plot line was just so amuck. Like, it's just a mess. You could tell that they were mostly on for the gore factor rather than an actual story. And the mental illness thing has always been a common trait in horror, so I don't know why in the world they always do that. It's such an overused trait. Like, such overuse. And they shouldn't have made this guy to the point to where he is still alive. Like, that man's even alive at the end. Like, what is this guy? I mean, he's I don't think zombies exist in this universe. I don't think vampires do. So, is this guy just immortal? Like, is he, like, nobody can beat him? He's got a body of steel? That was a lot of the issue, was the plot inconsistencies. Overall, though, it was definitely something. I mean, is it a movie that I got really scared of? Not really. I was mostly finding myself screaming out in frustration at this girl. But it was good. I mean, if you're in the mood for more of a horror comedy-ish thing, I would check it out. I know that they were trying to make it like full-blown horror, but they just, I don't know. But you guys could give it a watch. It's on Amazon Prime, and I'm not really sure how much it is, so don't even ask me. Look, I just work here. If you guys did like this video, be sure you hit the like button. Also, be sure you subscribe, as I'm trying to get to 600 subs. And thank you guys for watching today. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's been a while since I've done a movie review, but hey, gotta start somewhere. Alright, well, I love you guys. God bless, and remember, this isn't goodbye forever. This is just goodbye for now. Bye.